The observation deck of the Galactic Military Academy hummed with tension, as 50 cadets from 12 different species stood at attention. Commander Vexitel, a towering Crithian with 4 arms and scales that shimmered like oil on water, paced before them with deliberate steps. "Today's exercise," the commander announced, his voice resonating through the chamber, "will separate the competent from the incompetent. You will track and contain a group of Thoraxian cubs who have escaped from the xenobiology wing." A collective groan rippled through the assembly. Thoraxian cubs were notorious, small, incredibly fast, and possessed of a child's curiosity combined with razor-sharp claws and an instinct for chaos. Mike Chen stood among the cadets, the only human in his class. At 5'9", he looked almost comically small next to his fellow trainees. The Karathi beside him stood nearly 8 feet tall, all muscle and confidence. The Salarian on his other side possessed 6 legs and compound eyes that could track movement in all directions simultaneously. "You have 2 hours," Commander Vextal continued. "The cubs are currently loose in Sector 7. Contain them without harming them. Those who succeed will advance to tactical operations training. Those who fail," he paused meaningfully, "will repeat basic field exercises. Again." The cadets dispersed immediately, racing toward Sector 7 with various degrees of speed and grace. Mike jogged at a steady human pace, watching his classmates disappear ahead of him. Sector 7 was a maze of corridors designed to simulate urban environments on a dozen different worlds. Mike arrived to find it already in chaos. A Karathi cadet hung upside down from a ventilation shaft, tangled in cables while 3 cubs chittered mockingly from above. 2 Valenti cadets, their telepathic coordination usually flawless, ran in circles as cubs darted between their legs with impossible agility. Mike found a quiet corner near the sector's main junction and sat down, his back against the wall. He pulled out his canteen and took a slow drink. "Human, what are you doing?" hissed a passing Drevian cadet, her fur standing on end as she clutched a makeshift net. "They're everywhere." Mike simply closed his eyes and remained still. 20 minutes passed. The chaos intensified. Cadets deployed every tool in their arsenal: neural nets, sonic disruptors, gravity fields, pheromone trails. The cubs, operating on pure instinct and joy, evaded everything. They were too small, too fast, too unpredictable. Then Mike heard it. A tiny, curious chirp from somewhere to his left. He didn't move. Didn't open his eyes. He simply sat there, breathing slowly and evenly. Another chirp, closer this time. The cubs had evolved on a world of massive predators. Their survival depended on constant motion, on never staying still long enough to be caught. They were hardwired to notice movement, to flee from it, to never trust anything that pursued. But something that didn't move, something that simply existed, that was curious. A small weight pressed against Mike's leg. He felt tiny claws grip his uniform pants. Still, he didn't move. A second cub approached, then a third. They climbed over him, chittering softly, investigating this strange, still creature that smelled different from anything else in the sector. Mike cracked one eye open just enough to see. 5 cubs now surrounded him, their iridescent fur catching the corridor lights. They pawed at his hands, sniffed his hair, and one, smaller than the others with a distinctive pattern of spots, curled up in his lap. "Hunter," Mike whispered, so softly it was barely audible. He'd read the cubs' designation files. This one was Hunter, the most elusive of the group. Slowly, glacially slowly, Mike reached into his pocket. The cubs tensed but didn't flee. He pulled out a protein bar, standard human rations, and broke off a tiny piece. He held it out in his open palm. Hunter sniffed it, took it delicately, and chittered with apparent approval. One by one, the other cubs approached. Mike shared his rations, moving only his fingers, keeping his breathing steady and his posture relaxed. When all 5 cubs were eating from his hands, he carefully activated his comm unit. "Commander," he said quietly, "I have them. Sector 7, Junction 4. But sir, you'll need to send someone slowly, very slowly." Commander Vextal arrived 15 minutes later with a containment team. They found Mike still sitting against the wall, all 5 Thoraxian cubs now sleeping peacefully around him. Hunter remained curled in his lap, purring softly. The commander's scales shifted colors in what Mike had learned to recognize as surprise. "Explain, Cadet Chen." "Sir, everyone else was trying to catch them," Mike said, still speaking softly to avoid waking the cubs. stopped being something that needed to be run from. You didn't move for over an hour. No. Sir. The other cadets used every technology at their disposal. Yes, sir. Commander Vextal's forearms crossed in a gesture of contemplation. Your species doesn't have superior speed. You lack enhanced senses. Your reaction time is mediocre by galactic standards, yet you succeeded where 50 better-equipped cadets failed. Mike carefully stroked Hunter's spotted fur. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, sir. We're not the fastest or the strongest, but we understand patience. We know how to wait. And we know that sometimes the best way to catch something isn't to chase it, it's to make it come to you. The containment team carefully transferred the sleeping cubs to a transport carrier. Hunter chirped sleepily as he was moved, one tiny paw reaching back toward Mike. As the other cadets returned to the observation deck, defeated and disheveled, Commander Vextal addressed them all. You relied on your strengths, speed, technology, natural advantages. But Cadet Chen understood something more fundamental. He adapted not his tools but his approach. In the field, you will face situations where your advantages mean nothing. Remember this day. Remember that sometimes the greatest tactical advantage is knowing when not to act. The commander's scales shifted to a color Mike didn't recognize. Later, a Crithian classmate would tell him it was respect. Cadet Chen advances to tactical operations. The rest of you report for remedial exercises at 600. As the cadets filed out, Mike remained for a moment looking at the transport carrier where Hunter and the other cubs slept peacefully. The little one's eyes opened briefly, meeting Mike's gaze, before closing again contentedly. Sometimes, Mike thought, the most human thing wasn't the ability to overcome through force or speed or technology. It was the wisdom to know when simply being still was enough.